Hi, I'm Mary Logston, and I'd like to wish you a Happy New Year here at your library. This month at your library, we're in the middle of our annual winter reading program, Cozy Up to a Book. We hope that you'll take a moment to stop by the information desk on your next visit to the library to consider picking up an entry form so that you too can participate in our winter reading program for adults that lasts through the month of February. I don't know about you, but cozying up with a book in front of a fire and a hot cup of coffee or cocoa or tea is a really delightful image that appeals to me. And if that's the same for you, as I said, stop by the information desk or the bookmobile and pick up an entry form. Let us know what books you're reading this winter and what you think of them. And you can enter your reading submissions in for a drawing for potential prizes. And I hope that you'll do that sometime soon. As I said, this lasts through the month of February. Well, I know so many people in this community love to read. That's obvious. In addition to that, many people enjoy also getting together with friends and colleagues to discuss the books they're reading. That describes you. If you're a member of a reading group, book club, discussion group, come to the library and check out our book club collection. In fact, today I'm going to share a few ideas for you for possible book group collection choices and tell you a little bit more about this nice service that we have here at your Ames Public Library. As I said, I have a lot of books to recommend to you if you're a member of a book club and you're looking for some suggested titles. In fact, we have a book club collection here at the library, and we've prepared a handout with information about all of the titles that are currently available. This information, by the way, is also available on our website. It describes the about 80 titles that we do have in our book club collection. Book club books are actually located really near to the new arrival section at the library, so if you can't find it, just ask. As I said, we have about 80 titles, and it's a mix of fiction and nonfiction. Some of the features of the book club collection, not only is that whole collection in one spot near to the new arrival section, we go out of our way to purchase multiple copies of these books. So we typically have between 5 and 10 copies of the book available. And what's nice about that is that if you are choosing to read a particular book in a particular month, there's a good chance that you and your fellow book group members will be able to check out the same title to read. And then another perk of the book club collection is that the books do check out for 6 weeks instead of the typical 3 weeks. So you have a little bit longer, you can share it with your friends. It's just, we treat the collection in a slightly different way. Today I brought with me just a few of the books, and I thought I would just share a little bit about them, and so that might get you interested in suggesting it for your next book club meeting. First, we have Major Pettigrew's Last Stand. This is a book by British author Helen Simonson. It is set in the English countryside. If that's a setting that appeals to you, this might be a book for you. In this book, Major Ernest Pettigrew has led a quiet life in a manner much like his ancestors before him. Nothing much has changed for him. That is until his brother's death. And at this time, he begins a friendship with a Pakistani woman who is a shopkeeper in his village. He finds out during this period of his life that he and she share a love of literature and as well an understanding of the grief that he's experiencing. It's a bit of an unlikely friendship for him, and he is someone whose transformation you'll very much enjoy reading. It's a delightful read that makes for a good discussion about the nature of friendship and tradition, cultural differences, and love, especially when all of these are tested later in one's life. Major Pettigrew's Last Stand. Another book club book that is set in England is The Unlikely Pilgrimage of Harold Fry. This is by Rachel Joyce. This deals with friendship in a different way. Harold Fry is recently retired, and he lives a rather monotonous life with his wife, and they are in a point where not much has changed for many, many years. Until one morning when he receives a letter from a woman that he's not heard from in over 20 years. Harold is moved by this letter. I won't tell you why. And he decides quite impulsively that he wishes to reply to her, not by writing, but by visiting her in person. The quirky thing about this is that he decides to do so by walking to see her. And the even quirkier thing is that she is in care hundreds of miles away from his town. This is The Unlikely Pilgrimage of Harold Fry. There's a different kind of unlikely scenario that you will explore if you choose to read The Age of Miracles, a book by an American writer, Karen Thompson Walker. This is Walker's debut novel, and it's gotten a lot of attention. It's a coming-of-age book, and it's kind of a crossover fiction in that it would have a wide appeal for young adult as well as adult audiences. If you're a fan of The Hunger Games, that kind of book, speculative fiction, this would be a great selection for you and your book group. So as I said, it's pretty much a coming-of-age tale about an adolescent girl. But the speculative part is, just imagine what it would be like if you woke up one day and you found that the rotation of the Earth has slowed down, so that the days are getting longer, that the gravity is affected, that the tides are shifting, and that really human behavior is thrown into a state of disarray. This would not be a typical coming-of-age tale. This is what's happening in The Age of Miracles, a very well reviewed, much discussed title that is in our book club collection. Finally, I'd like to share with you one of our nonfiction titles. Nonfiction is really great for book discussions as well. This book is called The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind, and it is written by William Quamby and Brian Mueller. It's an inspiring autobiography about William, who was born in Malawi in Southeast Africa. His community, it's a village, a small village, where only about 20% of the inhabitants enjoyed electricity and running water. William is an inquisitive 14-year-old boy who, although he's not receiving any formal education, he does educate himself about electricity, and he learns through reading old textbooks about windmills. So William puts his curious nature and intelligence and energy to work in order to help end the cycle of drought and the starvation level poverty that his family and his fellow community members were experiencing. Again, that's The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind by William Kamkwambi and Brian Mueller. It's one of the many nonfiction titles that we have in the book club collection as well. So I hope that I've given you a little bit of curiosity about the book club collection, and that you'll take the time to visit and see what else we've got available. As always, stop by and ask any of the library staff members for assistance. Send us an email, give us a call, because we're always here and interested in helping you to find the next great book to read. Stick around, because we're going to share with you some of the newest titles that have recently been added to the Ames Public Library. Last month at your library, I sat down with Library Director Lynn Carey, and Lynn got us up to date a little bit about the construction and activities over at 515 Douglas, our library that is very much in a state of renewal at this point. If you haven't yet gone by Douglas Avenue to see what's happening there at our library, I really hope you'll do so. At this point, from the outside, you can very much see the shape of the new library as it is all filled in. And if you're at all curious about what the inside looks like, stop here at the temporary library because we have a slideshow going continuously during library hours right here in our library lounge behind the information desk. Don't know if you're aware of it, but we update the images on this slideshow every couple of weeks. So you'll see really fabulous transition that's happening on the interior of the library, which we're very, very eager to get into so that we can start delivering great service to you sometime in the fall of 2014. Thanks again for being with me today. This is Mary Logsdon at your library.